Got you going on the recording.
Got it. All right, happy Friday. Hello and welcome to At Home and Health. Each week we aim to uplift and support wellness professionals working from home during quarantine by providing interactive conversations featuring experts on today's timely topics. I'm Amanda LaPlante. I am a certified integrative nutrition health coach and radio host of Get Real to Heal on KWRH 92.9 FM. As a reminder, a little conversational etiquette for this interactive discussion today. We want this to be a fully interactive experience, and we love your questions and comments, but please pop those into the chat box and we'll be sure to respond to each and every single one of them. I can read them for you, or if you want to ask to be brought on screen, I'm happy to do that so you can interface with our expert yourself as well. Just remember that this is being recorded, so if you pop on screen, we're going to catch you. The timely topic of today is technology. And before we start our conversation with our guest expert, just a quick shout out to the sponsors and organizers behind this series, Casey Limmer and Kate Burris of Gateway Wellness Associates, and Jessica Tourre of Acadia Healthcare. Ladies, what are you hoping to hear about in today's discussion?
I've actually been really looking forward to this one. Dr. Twyman, I know that technology is your field, as well as you must be an extremely intelligent person to be in cardiology and to have a handle on technology right now. And we're all kind of trying to figure out health and technology. So I am looking forward to hearing more about, all the things that we could be doing health-wise with technology right now.
Excellent. And Jessica, what are your thoughts?
I'm curious, certainly about the benefits of technology. And, we know that there are many of them, but I'm also wondering kind of what you think are the cons or, the negative outcomes and things we need to just keep an eye on and be aware of as well to kind of balance ourselves.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. I'm right on the same page with you there. And I know that Dr. Twyman is a wealth of knowledge. So Dr. Michael Twyman focuses on the prevention and early detection of heart disease. He's a board certified cardiologist, and heart attack prevention is his passion. Utilizing the best of conventional medicine, integrative and functional medicine, quantum medicine, and biohacking, he works to get to the root cause of your cardiovascular issues. Dr. Twyman can help optimize your life, and I've been very fortunate to work with him quite a bit lately and have learned a wealth of things from him. So very excited to have you in the conversation today. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, all right. Technology has been amazing for getting through this quarantine, right? It's finding ways to keep us connected, keep us working, keep us moving forward. But we know that there are some potential drawbacks. So I think one of the things that we had come up in questions today, and one of the places to start is really, you're also an expert on telemedicine. You've set up your practice as a cardiologist to be completely able to be administered through telemedicine, which is fascinating to me. What was the idea behind that, and where did you start?
Sure, it's a great question. And, I had a kind of interest in technology earlier on. I worked in IT, information technology, before I went to medical school. And so I've just always been fascinated by how computers work. And, once the internet came around in the 90s, how it connected everyone. So I launched my practice of cardiology last summer with the idea in mind that I could be location independent or the patient could be location independent. So I built telemedicine into my practice from day one, and I have been doing it with a few patients who've moved out of the area. So when the stay-at-home order came down, in March, it was literally a switch, and I was 100% telemedicine the next day. So it really wasn't as big of a technological challenge for me because I already had it built in.
So what are some of the challenges of working in this capacity, like of diving into telemedicine? You were part of St. Louis Heart and Vascular prior to opening Apollo Cardiology, and you've had several roles in more traditional facets. And so, what are kind of the challenges that you're facing in telemedicine, and what stands out?
The biggest challenge is just trying to feel like you have a connection with the patient. So, if it's one of my patients I've been seeing for many years, doing a one-off Zoom call, it's pretty straightforward. But the big challenge is, if I'm meeting a new person for the first time online, it's really harder to read somebody's body language, how to really kind of connect with them. So you got to try to kind of build rapport through the best means possible. And I think video is, the best, that we got right now. So I think that's the biggest challenge. The technological challenges aren't that many. Most people are used to using FaceTime or Skype. So myself or my assistant can usually walk people through getting the setup and having a two-way conversation.
Gotcha. What are some of the legal ins and outs when it comes to telemedicine?
That's a great question. And this is not legal advice. So check with your own lawyers about some of this stuff. But typically for telemedicine, there's two things. It's one, where the patient is physically located, and that's where the provider is physically located. The laws that really dictate it is where the patient is located. So currently I have licenses in Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, and New York. So if a patient resides in one of those states and I'm in Missouri, I'm okay to take care of that person. Now with kind of some of the emergency laws and things that came up with this COVID-19 pandemic, some of those restrictions are a little bit relaxed intermittently, but long-term, we don't know exactly how that's going to play out. So legally, you got to kind of know where the patient's at and where you're located. And then, just like this, if you're going to record a conversation, you need to have a privacy policy. You got to let people know that, you're going to be using a HIPAA secure platform, so somebody's not going to be listening in on your conversation, those type of things.
What, thinking about that and looking at kind of where you are now, I'm guessing you're like us, holed up, sheltering in place at home. And did you have a space in your home that was already set up for this? Or do you have any tips for us on how to set up your office best to be appropriate for telemedicine?
Great question. I have a home office that's mostly used for just, paying personal bills and storing my books that aren't medical, but quickly converted this into the Apollo Cardiology satellite office. I'm fortunate enough that I actually can walk to work normally, so I can look out my window and I actually can see the Apollo Cardiology building. So I think some of the tips and tricks that I use were that I try to have a lot of natural light in my room. So I'm sitting in front of a window right now. There's no artificial lights on. I have this laptop hardwired in through Ethernet, so I'm not running Wi-Fi right now. And I'm wearing my ubiquitous blue blocking glasses to kind of filter out some of the more intense blue light that can affect your health. And I'm sure we can get further into the hazards of blue light.
Which is a perfect segue into the next question, which is, hey, this is great and we can all connect and we can even see our doctors online, but how might it be affecting our health to be online so much?
It's a great question. And that's the biggest challenge right now is that, it's great that we can connect, Zoom, I've done many, kind of group meetups with friends, families all around the world during this time. And it's great to be connected with people, but it does potentially come at a health consequence sitting in front of these screens 8-10 hours a day. The sun has all the wavelengths of light that your body needs. Humans were evolved to be outside 90% of the time, and now we flip-flopped it and we're spending 90% or more inside, generally in front of screens. So you can think of your screen as something that's putting out the artificial sun, and your body's getting signals from that light, turning on different hormones and different neurotransmitters, potentially at the wrong time of day. The two places that it mostly impacts is through your eye and through your skin. And your eyes being the most important. So if you put physical blocker in front of your eye that filters out some of that light coming from your screen, that can help with keeping your melatonin levels high. Melatonin is a hormone important for your sleep quality and repairing your mitochondria at night, but things that make energy for you. But as you can see, Amanda's wearing a scarf. Underactive thyroid or Hashimoto's, an autoimmune thyroid condition, is very common, especially in women. One of the thoughts that Hashimoto's might be more common than it was in the 1980s is the increased use of technology. Your thyroid sits right about here. The light coming from your technology can penetrate your skin and potentially start interacting with the mitochondria that in your thyroid. That can stimulate your immune system to potentially start attacking your thyroid. So that's my one tip for anybody who's got an underactive thyroid that's free is cover up your neck with button up your shirt or wear a scarf.
It's just such a simple thing that we can do. And might I say, quite fashionable. Looks good to have the extra layers on camera. So, so yeah, it's a great simple tip, and then getting into the blue blocking glasses. Now, I know this is not the least of the tools and the biohacking fun that you have sitting probably within arm's reach of you right now. So I'd love for you to dive into some of that.
Sure. Start with the basics. Start with the light that your body gets exposed to. So, the number one biohack that I recommend is people get a pair of blue blocking glasses. And for those that don't know what biohacking is, that's totally fine. But just think, replace the word biohacking with health optimization. How do you change your environment to optimize your own biology? So either your physical environment or what's interacting with you in your environment. So she's right. I have a lot of my biohacking toys sitting right within arm's reach. I got a UVA bulb right by me, and I got a red light box to the other side of me right now. So those are some of the things I can somewhat balance out. The artificial light that's in my house, I'm trying to simulate more sunlight inside.
Yeah, and I love the red light box. I actually recently got one as well after you had recommended it to me, and I tried one in your office. And I have to say it's made a difference. Previously, I used to be on a ton of medications with all of my autoimmunity, have been able to get everything into remission, hold it there for a few years, get off of the majority of the medications, but I was still occasionally needing a sleeping medication just to be able to stay asleep through the night. And since I started incorporating some of these tools, these biohacks that you recommend, such as the blue light glasses during the day, I've got the darker lens, blue and green blocking glasses that, yep, there they are, that I wish I had mine sitting here. They're pretty groovy. I get a lot of compliments on them, but that I wear at night. And then using the red light box as well, I have recently been able to completely stop using that medication as well. So it's really, truly remarkable how much this can help us to regulate all of our hormones. Just getting back in touch with circadian rhythm by using these sorts of devices to, when we interact with technology, and then getting outside, of course. I know that another big thing that you're a proponent of is just getting out and getting real natural sunlight. Tell us a little more about why that matters.
Sure. So you already mentioned, the word circadian, and that's kind of my, favorite topic is, circadian rhythm management. Circadian is the 24-hour cycle. So you make different hormones throughout the day. You have different biological processes happening throughout the day. You're stronger in the afternoon. So, for optimal speed and performance and exercise, it's best done in the afternoon. From a time standpoint, maybe you're doing it in the morning, but if you want to do it at the best time that your body's meant to do it, it would be afternoon time. Same thing with eating. There's different times of day that you're optimized to eat. The quick and dirty way is basically only eat when the sun is out. If you can do that, you're compressing the time frame that you eat and to give your body time to recover. So the more you can reconnect with the way nature intended it, the better. So, my typical routine would be, I'm usually up, before 5 a.m. I'm wearing my glasses, not interacting with a bunch of technology before sunrise if I can help it. Then get outside for the sunrise, nothing between my eyes and the sun. Amanda remembers, we were on a kind of retreat a couple months ago in Puerto Rico and showed everybody this routine, feet on the ground, ideally, if you can, get in the grass or sand or something, reconnect with the actual earth, face east, face the sun, hang out there for 5, 15, 20 minutes, go eat your breakfast, and then go about doing what you need to do through the day. If you're brought back inside because your technology is bringing you inside, do your best every, hour, 2 hours, get outside for a couple minutes. That light from the sun reprograms your circadian rhythms throughout the day. It's like a GPS clock, resetting the clock every time you go outside. Then once it's dark, up until Edison, those guys invented the light bulbs in the 1800s, you would have had this darkness other than candlelight or oil, whale blubber oil or whatever it was. So you would have only had this very faint red light, campfire light type stuff. This real bright white light wasn't available to us until then. And now we have this 24-hour light cycle that messes up the way your body works. Different hormones are getting released at the wrong time. So recreate the way nature had is that the sun would set. Naturally, you would normally get tired 3 to 4 hours after that, and you would go to bed. So you can start minimizing your technology in the evening time, let your body start winding down, decreasing your stress levels. If you only have one pair of glasses, well, wear them, definitely have that, but you actually get 2 pairs. The darker the lenses, they block all the blue light that comes from your technology. Also, a lot of the green light that comes from your technology that can be stimulating to the body's ability to release melatonin. So switch up and wear these after sunset or within an hour or so wanting to go to bed, and you'll start realizing you're going to start falling asleep earlier for the most part.
Okay, funny story about those. So I have those, they're basically just like this, but they're with the red lenses, and I love concerts, but I knew I had to be on a show the next morning, and it was a weeknight concert for Lenny Kravitz here a few months ago. And so I went out to the Lenny Kravitz concert with my husband on a date, and I brought those with me, and I put them on a little bit before the show ended because I knew that the light show was going to really mess me up, and I wanted to be able to get to sleep and sleep well for the night. So what was funny was I slipped them on and people were like, yeah, man, they were so excited about how cool my glasses looked. And they thought I was out for a night of partying. I was like, no, no, I'm going to wear these home to go to bed.
Right.
kind of made me giggle. But yeah, so I love that. And I wish that more doctors were prescribing things like feet in the sand and sun.
Yes, I mean, that's the key, is you just reconnect with nature, act like a wild animal that humans used to actually be, and the better you tend to do. You can still use your technology, but realize that there might be a health consequence to it. Especially if you start, testing and you have an autoimmune condition or something's going on in your blood work, figure out what's going on in your environment. About 80% of diseases come from something that's going wrong with your mitochondria, the things that make energy for you. So it's generally something in your environment that's breaking you. It's not that you have a genetic abnormality and are prone to having bad things happen to you. Yes, there are, quote, diseases, but diseases are just names we give to a constellation of symptoms. Those symptoms are usually something happening in your environment, breaking something in you. So figure out what's breaking your environment and your health will improve.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned, that's a great segue into the next question, which would be about magnetism and Wi-Fi and waves and things like that we need to know about with all this technology surrounding us.
It's a great question, and it's a complicated topic, but everything that you're surrounded by with technology puts off these different electromagnetic frequencies, or EMFs. They're just different wavelengths of light. So everybody knows what a rainbow is. There's different, wavelengths of light. Then there's infrared light, which you sense as heat. You can't see it, but you can feel it. Then there's X-ray. So everybody's had their teeth X-rayed or had a chest X-ray. You can't see that light. That light passes straight through you, and they take a picture with it. So all Wi-Fi is, all cell phones are, all the things that you're interacting with, they're just different waveforms of light that are interacting with your system. So your mitochondria, they're acting like little radar detectors, and they sense what's going on in the environment. Some of the frequencies can act more like radar jammers, and they don't let the mitochondria work as effectively. They dehydrate the mitochondria.
Okay, so what can we be doing about that? And how concerned should we be?
It depends on exactly what your health, kind of health story is. If you're generally a healthy person, you sleep well, you have all the energy that you want, it's probably not affecting you as much. But if you have chronic fatigue syndrome, you have fibromyalgia, you have a bunch of autoimmune conditions, there's probably something electrohypersensitivity component to it. So test, don't guess. You actually have to check some biomarkers, some blood tests to figure out, how affected your biology is from your environment. But, and this is all self-taught, but I mean, you can get different meters. I mean, everybody has a thermometer to, test how, what their fevers, are. And you can get different meters that measure different radio frequencies. So this little one is pretty straightforward. It's green when it's low radio frequencies. It's red when it's high radio frequencies. You just want to be in the low radio frequencies. And the story about this is that a couple months ago I was at an event and I was sleeping horribly, and I'm normally kind of like a rock star sleeper. I don't have problems with it. And then I get on my meter and I tested the hotel room, and it turned out that like where the bed's head was like pegged red. And I tried to figure out what it was. Turned out the Wi-Fi router was built into the headboard of the bed, and I couldn't get access to it. So I just flipped myself around and slept at the foot of the bed. And so the radio frequency waves are much less at that end, so the sleep improved. So the number one place you need to really control your EMFs is in your bedroom, because you're spending whatever 8 hours there. That's the time that your body's trying to recover, and your body's mitochondria are doing their thing. They need to be not bombarded by all the Wi-Fi, cell phone, all the other signals.
Okay, so it was built into the headboard of the bed.
Correct.
All right. So when people start complaining in that hotel chain that no one can sleep in their room, I wonder how long it's going to take for them to figure out.
I'm not sure. And I was not the only one, because there's like a conference, like probably 40, 50 people, and there's a lot of people talk about it. They said, oh, there's something in the headboard. I went back and tested them, like, oh, yep, there it is. So.
Wow. So, and I feel like this information, although a lot of people haven't been exposed to it, it's not new. This is pretty well documented, information. So why are so many companies and so many people just not hearing about this?
That's a challenging question. I mean, it's just something that honestly I was not trained in. This isn't something I heard in my conventional training. I did 10 years of training after college. Never once heard about electromagnetic frequencies and their effects on health, other than like if you got electrocuted, or in cardiology we defibrillate or shock people to get out of rhythms. But nowhere do we ever talk about cell phones or Wi-Fi's impact on your health. That's stuff I've learned since my post training. But it's more just kind of the curiosity, like I said before, if you're doing well, this isn't something that's probably going to cross your radar. But if you've done all conventional medicine, you've even tried functional integrated medicine, you're still not getting better, you need to go down the rabbit hole even more and go down to kind of the quantum level, where how is light interacting with your mitochondria? That's the basics of what biohacking is how is that environment affecting the mitochondria? So that's when you just start reading all about how the EMS potentially do affect your health. But back to your question, like how do you learn more about this? There's multiple different resources online that you can kind of look up, but it is sometimes hard a little bit to kind of vet your sources to let you know, like, okay, who's reputable and who's not.
Right. Well, okay. So I want to take one leap down a rabbit hole with you before we move on. Cryptocurrency. You
Yes.
accept cryptocurrency in your practice, yes?
I accept cryptocurrency in my practice. For those I know, cryptocurrency is a borderless electronic currency that, if you've used PayPal, PayPal's are linked to banks. Cryptocurrency, there's a worldwide ledger that all the computers are basically sharing that information of what's on the ledger. And just as like there's Bob and there's Jane, Bob's sending Jane 10 Bitcoins. That ledger just says that, okay, those Bitcoins are now belong by Jane. That's all really cryptocurrency is. But I decided to accept cryptocurrency because one, it's bleeding edge. It's something that is potentially one of the ways the future of how currency is going to work. And it also allows me for telemedicine to work with people all over the world without necessarily having to convert currencies. This is not tax advice. You have to report accepting cryptocurrency. It's just like receiving any type of, reimbursement for somebody. You have to report this, but it's just a payment mechanism that makes it a little bit easier for some people to transfer value to you for you giving them value.
Wow. All right. It's fascinating. Well, we had a question here in the group chat. By the way, if anyone has any questions for Dr. Twyman, we've just got a couple minutes left, so pop them in the chat and we'll make sure to get to them. We did have a question from Kara. She said, can we get a list of the resources and gadgets and what they help with and where to purchase them? So do you have something like that you use in your practice, some sort of a list that you could refer us to somewhere?
I don't have a complete all the biohack gadgets I use. It's more of a kind of by compartment of what they're used for. I'm not paid to recommend any of them. I purchase all these on my own with my own funds. I would say the best place right now to know which ones I'm using is just to follow me on Instagram or on my Facebook group. Usually people ask those questions and I post links to the places where you can get them. My main practice website, apollocardiology.com, has some links to some of the glasses.
Okay. And what are your social media handles so that people can follow you online? You do give some great information.
Sure. So I'm most active on Instagram for my kind of biohacking health optimization tips. My handle on Instagram is Dr. Twyman, Dr. Twyman. So it's DrTwyman. Same thing on Facebook. I do have a private Facebook group that's free, just Dr. Twyman's Tribe. Search for it. I'll let you guys in. And that's where I share a lot of my kind of articles where people had written other articles and my comments on my, suggestions on what you need to take from that article to, help with your own health. So those are the best places to follow me right now, are Instagram and Facebook. But I'm on YouTube, I'm on LinkedIn. You'll find me if you just search my name.
He's everywhere. He's out there and loving it. All right. And then we had another question pop in, said that they noticed that you're not wearing headphones. Was that intentional?
That's definitely intentional. Good question. I don't put anything electronic near my brain if all possible. So if I'm on my phone, I'm usually on speakerphone, or if I'm using headsets, I do have them here, but I don't have them in right now. As I have air tube ones. This is from a company called iBrain. They work okay, but essentially the wire goes to here. There's a little speaker here, and then it's like shoots it through an air tube, which is sort of like where my stethoscope would be in the office, and you can listen to it. So it keeps the EMFs away from your brain.
Okay, and you're going to need that sharp mind for a long time, because if I remember correctly, you have a very big goal.
That's correct. Yeah, so the big goal is what I usually call Mission 106 Plus. My great-grandmother, Ola, she was born in 1893. She passed in 2000, so she lived for 3 centuries. She was 106 years old when she passed. It's my goal to try to beat her record, so I'm going to need to do all the biohacking, health optimization I can to get there.
Well, I love that, and I think that it's such a great thing that you have that goal, because it's causing you and your brilliant mind to dig deeper and deeper and deeper on how you can optimize your health, and we get to benefit from your knowledge because you're so generous with sharing it. So again, just want to thank you so much for being on here and having this conversation with us today. And yeah, everyone should be following Dr. Twyman.
Thank you very much, and yeah, it was great to interact with everybody. If you have questions, I'm more than happy to answer them. Just direct message me, Facebook, Instagram, and I'm usually pretty quick getting back to you.
Awesome. Thanks again. Well, Jessica and Casey, what are your key takeaways from this conversation today?
I am extremely validated because last night I just dropped some money on some blue light glasses because I keep hearing how wonderful they are and miraculous, and I'll sleep better and I won't have headaches. So I'm even more excited for those to come. Thank you, Amazon, on Sunday. So, and more ideas about exercising in the afternoon and getting out when the sun is out, eating when the sun's up. I mean, these are great tips, and I'm happy that you were here to give them to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love how practical and, just like you said, it's kind of rooted in nature. And I think that all of this can be applied very easily. And I think it segues very nicely to next week when we're talking about mindful movement and using this time to reconnect in that way.
Well, it looks like we had one last question pop in about night mode on computers. Can that replace glasses?
It helps, but no, it cannot replace the glasses because still a certain amount of blue light is getting through there. So on your iPhone, there's night shift. I have the night shift on 24/7, so my phone is always somewhat dark. And actually, I have a hack on it. If you just search for triple click red, there's a way you can set up your phone that if you click it, your phone screen looks red, so it really dials out pretty much all the blue. For your computer, there's 2 apps typically recommended. One is free called Lux. It's like F.Lux. Works pretty well. They have a free version. A kind of more upgraded version would be to use something called Iris, I-R-I-S. Again, they have a free version. Then have a pay version. It's like maybe, I don't remember, 10, 15 bucks at most. But Iris actually works a little bit better at helping with the flicker, how fast the screen is on and off. And you can set Iris to basically, like a GPS. It knows okay, it's sunsetting in St. Louis at 7 p.m. Your screen will start going from bright to orange, and it's like sunset on your screen. So by nighttime, your phone or your computer is much darker. There's not Iris for your phone yet, just for computers.
Awesome. Well, and thanks, Cindy, for popping that in the chat. Really appreciate it. Love the interactivity of the conversation here, and can't wait to have everyone back next week. I want to again thank our team, Casey, Jessica, and Kate, and thank our expert, Dr. Michael Twyman. And, just join us next week. We'd love to have you back for At Home and Health. And next Friday at noon, we will be talking about mindful movement. Yes?
Yes. Yes, we'll have Kate Burris and Ryan, Amanda, I cannot remember.
Ryan Morgan. Yeah. So
thank you.
Yeah.
Talking about mindful movement.
Yeah, it should be a great episode. I know I could use a little more movement in my day lately, so looking forward to that one. Everybody have a great day.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.
Thank you.